Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupāda. All glories to our beloved speaker for today, His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu, who needs no introduction, and all glories to the Srimad Vaishnavi devotees. We thank you all for being here.
Haribo, Hare Krishna.
And it is an honor that we have our own beloved uncle with us.
He approached the personality of Godhead, who bestows all boons and who dispels the agony of his devotees and of those who take shelter of his lotus feet. He manifests his innumerable transcendental forms for the satisfaction of the devotees, of his devotees. Here the words Bhaktanam Anurupatamadarshana mean personality of Godhead manifests his multi-forms according to the desires of his devotees. For example, Hanumanji Vajrangaji wanted to see the form of the Lord as the personality of Godhead Ramachandra, whereas other Vaishnavas want to see the form of Radha and Krishna. And still other devotees want to see the Lord in the form of Lakshmi Narayan. The Mayavadi philosophers think that although all these forms are assumed by the Lord, just as the devotee desires to see him, actually he is impersonal. From Brahma Samhita, however, we can understand that this is not so. For the Lord has multi-forms. It is said in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam, the Lord does not appear before the devotee because of the devotee's imagination. Brahma Samhita further explains, the Lord has innumerable forms. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Nimena Tishtan. He exists in millions and millions of forms. There are 8,400,000 species of living entities, but the incarnations of the Supreme Lord are innumerable. In the Bhagavatam it is stated that as the waves in the sea cannot be counted, but appear and disappear continually, the incarnations and forms of the Lord are innumerable. A devotee is attached to a particular form, and it is that form which he worships. We have just described the first appearance of the boar within this universe. There are innumerable universes, and somewhere or other the boar form is now existing. All the forms of the Lord are eternal. It is the devotee's inclination to worship a particular form, and he engages in devotional service to that form. In a verse in the Ramayana, Hanuman, the great devotee of Ram, said, I know that there is no difference between the Sita Ram and Lakshmi Narayan forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But nevertheless, the form of Ram and Sita has absorbed my affection and love. Therefore, I want to see the Lord in the forms of Rama and Sita. Similarly, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas love the form of Radha and Krishna, and Krishna and Rukmini at Dwarka. The words Bhaktanam Anurupatamadarsanam mean that the Lord is always pleased to favor the devotee in that particular form in which the devotee wants to worship and render service unto him. In this verse, it is stated that Brahma approached Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This form of the Lord is Shirdakshay Vishnu. Whenever there is some trouble and Brahma has to approach the Lord, he can approach Shirdakshay Vishnu, and it is the grace of the Lord that whenever Brahma approaches about disturbance in the universe, the Lord gives him relief in so many ways. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda, and I'm very grateful. Thank you for inviting me, Prabhus, to the African Yatra. It's so exciting to have your association and Sangha every once a month or so. So, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Prabhupada mentions that the entire world is overrun by the Mayavadis. And he describes that just like a man is suffering every day, he just was afflicted by a disease and he can't eat properly. He's just taking medicine. His whole life is like this. So when someone comes and says, oh, because his eating habit is so miserable throughout his whole life, when someone comes with rasgullas and halava and nice prashadam, sir, would you like, please take this. Oh, no, zero. I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat. They have, so like this, the Mayavadis, because they see the world as dukkhalayam shashvatam, that they see only the world as temporary and full of misery because they're only seeing the illusionary, the material world, which is full of miseries arranged by Lord Krishna's energy, external energy, Maya. Then they just want to make everything zero. Yanera Vindakshavi Mukti Maninas, Dvya Ashtbad Avishuddha Buddhaya, Arukrachena Parampadam Tata, Patanti Ado Nadrita Yushmad Angraya. They think that because they have some kind of moksha, that they have attained the highest platform of self-realization, but Arukrachena, they think they've come to the highest level. Vimukti Manina, their intelligence is contaminated by this impersonalism, and because they have no taste for the nectarine lotus feet of the Lord. So Prabhupada says that this Sunyavadi and Mayavadi, this is very temporary. After some time, they floating in the homogeneous, in this Brahman effulgence. After some time, they fall down and open hospitals, and they say, Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. Serving man is serving God. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really condemned this because it's the gateway to sense gratification. And also, they are committing offenses to the Lord by saying he has no eyes, no limbs. Krishna is the most beautiful. He's the most opulent. Aishvaryasya Shamagrasya Viryasya Samashriyashraya. That the Lord is full in all six opulences: beauty, fame, knowledge, renunciation, strength, and wealth. That he's the Lord, he's the unlimited source of all this. How could he be nothing but attractive and all opulent? Venum Fanantar Aravinda Dalayataksha. His eyes are beautiful like lotus petals. He plays on a beautiful flute. He is stunning in his beauty. He resembles a dark monsoon cloud. And he's attracting. Krishna means one who attracts all living beings. He is all attractive. So, Krishna clearly is emphatically saying that Klesho dikatarastesham avyakta shakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukam dehavadbir avapite. He tells Arjuna this process of impersonalism where one thinks that he is one with God, therefore somehow he's God. He says this is full of kleshas or difficulties, full of problems. Avyaktihi gatir dukam. This path is full of misery. So Krishna is discouraging these so-called Mahatmas from following this path. The Lord is so kind that in the Vaishnava tradition, we're learning that he has unlimited forms. Advaitam Achyutam Anadam. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu. Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Krishna, if you're a person, how is it that the supreme absolute truth, the source of everything, is not a person? He's also a person, although Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate, he has unlimited potencies. So he says, Nachamam Pasyame Yogam Aishvaram, Bhuta Brinacha Bhuta Sto, Mamatma Bhuta Bhavitaha. Just see my mystic opulences. Although everything is in me and I'm in everything, still I remain aloof from it. So that is the beauty. And here, Lord Brahma, he's approaching Shirdakshay Vishnu. Shirdakshay Vishnu is an expansion of Garbhadakshay Vishnu, who is an expansion of Karanadakshay Vishnu. Yasyaika Nishvasito Katamatavalavyaam, Jiveta Loma Vilaja Tadanandanata, Vishnu Mahasa Iharyasya Harir, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Lord Brahma himself is saying that this Karanadakshay Vishnu is source of all the various planets, and within each universe, Jiveta Loma Vilaja means that the universes are emanating with one breath. All the universes are coming out from his pores of his skin, of his body. And then he enters as Garbhadakshay Vishnu, and he has Shiradakshay Vishnu. So Lord Brahma here is mentioned that he has a problem. The demons who were born from his backside, they're in the mode of ignorance and passion. That is demoniac. Rakshasas, yakshas, they're born in the lower modes of nature, and they're chasing him to have his sense gratification, to engage in sinful activities. They want to eat him also. So he approaches the Lord. The demigods, when they're having problems, they approach the Lord. Injari Vyakulam Lokam Midyanti Yuge Yuge. The enemies of the demigods, the enemies of Lord Indra, then Krishna has to protect them. Krishna always intervenes. Demigods are fighting with the demons over the nectar. They're churning the ocean of milk. And the Lord appears as Mohini Murti to bedazzle the demons and make sure they don't get the immortal nectar. So the Lord is always on the side of the demigods. And you may say, Prabhupada says in one purport, that why do you say the Lord is equal to all when he seems to be favoring the devas, the demigods, and the devotees? And Prabhupada mentions that actually, when the Lord kills the demons, he favors them because they get moksha, they get swarupya moksha or sarishti moksha, one of all the 5 types of liberation. So in that way, he is very merciful. So here we learn that Hanumanji, he prefers to worship Sita and Ram. This is a kind of reverence or dasyaras. He's a servant in dasyaras. In the mood, he's tasting the relationship of servitude to Sita and Ram. He's serving them nicely. And when Lord Chaitanya told Murari Gupta, he said, Murari Gupta, why are you so attached to Ram and Sita? I'm giving Radha Krishna. It is most intimate, most nectarine taste of love of God. And you give up this chanting of Rama, Sita Ram, Lakshmana, Hanuman. Give it up, Hanuman. So Murari Gupta went home and he was thinking, how can I live another day? And he approached Lord Chaitanya, Nimai Pandit. And he said, I can't give up this Sitaram mantra. And so like that, also Anupam, the brother of Sanat and Rupa Goswami, he was also very attached to Lord Ram. He was always chanting Ram. And he was encouraged. Ultimately, he left his body untimely or prematurely. Uh, and the two brothers continued in engaging and uh, giving great expositions on the most intimate aspect, the Madhurya Ras in Parakiya mood. Parakiya Bhav means lawless love of Radha and Krishna and the gopis. So here Prabhupada is mentioning that, yeah, the Vaishnavas, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they love the forms of Radha and Krishna and Rukmini and Krishna and Dwarka. So this is the most nectarine taste. This was introduced by Madhavendra Puri prior to Lord Chaitanya's appearance. He introduced this most intimate aspect of devotees in Vrindavan, that the Brijvasis, there is no on veneration. Vrindavana Prichaja Padamekam Nadi Gachati. That Lord Krishna actually, as the son of Mother Yashoda and Maharaj Nanda Nandana, this is the most sweetest experience for the devotees, that they forget about God being Supreme Lord. Aham bija pradapita. The father always has to take trouble to supply for the children. Sarva yoni shukuntya murtiya sambhavantiya kesham brahma mahad yunir. Aham bija pradapita. Krishna is telling Arjuna that all the different species, I'm supplying everything. I am the father. Nitya nityanam chaitanas chaitananam. But Krishna is more, he's relishing more his interfacing, interaction with his devotees when they have a feeling, a mood of maintaining their son, Krishna, Govinda, Ananda Maharaj, Mother Yasoda. They have this mood of Vatsalya, parenthood. Let me protect my son. Let me feed my son. Oh, Krishna, you're looking so unhealthy. You're so thin. Why are you always running around in the forest of Vrindavan? Come home and eat. And this way, Mother Yashoda is always worrying about Krishna. Krishna, the entire universe is contained within his body in the form of Karnadakshay Vishnu. Everything emanates from Krishna, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate. Krishna says, I am the source of both the spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me, like this. But this is most intimate. So devotees of the Lord, especially in this age of Kali, are being given this great fortune of being able to enter into the most intimate and the sweetest understanding of the absolute truth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, is actually the son of Maharaj Nanda, the lover of the gopis, and the friend of Subal, Sridham, Sudam. All his friends, they're climbing on his shoulders, they're playing with him. And this is the Lord. The Lord is not some kind of angry person that's, throwing thunderbolts at people and causing them suffering. This is the atheistic argument. If there's a God, why are we all suffering? Why is there so much suffering in the world? God is a cruel God. They accuse like this. And, but Krishna is saying, I have to give you free will, or else you're not a person. The inherent quality of you as a soul is that you have this free will. And icha dvesha sumutena dvandva mohena bharta. Sarva bhutani samoham sarge yanti parantapa. That the living entity is born into this world overwhelmed by the dualities of desire and hate. So we make these choices, and we're going around the universe exercising our free will. And then because of that, we invite pious and impious reactions based on our pious and impious activities. And therefore, the foolish atheists do not understand. Avajananti mamudha manushim tunam ashritam. Param bhava majananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. However, Krishna is so merciful that yes, again and again he comes, millions and trillions of incarnations, nanavatarama karud bhuvaneshu kintu. Millions and trillions of incarnations are appearing as even as different animals or fish, a horse, a tortoise, the boar incarnation. The Lord comes in as He will, by His free will. He appears in all these different types of forms, unlimited forms, to please His devotees. Prahlad Maharaj is in ecstasy to see the beautiful form of Lord Nrsingadev, half man, half lion. So this is the Supreme Lord, and the non-devotees, whether they're the fruitive, those are vikarmis, or people who want to enjoy the material world, and they engage in all kinds of sinful activities, or even those who perform karma kanda, they have some religion, but they simply have material desires, or the non-devotees who are simply thinking that God is not a person. You can worship different demigods, but this is just a manifestation of illusion coming out of the Brahma Jyoti. These kind of persons, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritaha Mudhoyam Nabijanati Mamebhya Param Avyayam. These types of these different categories of non-devotees, they are to be avoided. Devotees of the Lord have to take shelter of each other. We have to take shelter of sadhu sangha constantly, and disassociate ourselves from the different types of non-devotees, especially those who are very attached to sense gratification, money and women, deshu asanteshu mudishu kanditatvishu asadushu. Avoid the coarse person who is bereft of all knowledge. And Yoshit Kridami Geshucha, he's a dancing dog in the hands of materialistic woman. And then, of course, we have to avoid those non-devotees who are gyanis, who speculate about the absolute truth, and they come to the conclusion that there's no personal God. God has no form, and they can merge. So these people are to be avoided at all costs. And at the same time, the prescription is to associate with devotees. So Krishna says, Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayantas Parasparam. Katiyantas Chamam Nityam. That 24 hours a day, we're always glorifying the Lord in association with each other. We're engaging in devotional service. In this way, we're becoming more and more purified. And gradually, we're making spiritual advancement, moving up the ladder towards attachment to the Lord, attachment to His holy name. And 24 hours a day, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mama Vaishasi Satyam Te Pratijani Priyosimi. Krishna tells Arjuna, always think of me and always worship me and offer your obeisances. So devotees are always engaging in service to the Lord with our senses, with our mind, with our words. In this way, we're actually under the potency of the Lord. Mahatmanas Tumam Parta Daivim Prakriti. We're in the divine shelter of Krishna. We're in the divine effulgence of the Lord, so to speak. And so we're under the protection of the Lord in this way, and relishing the nectarine activities of the Lord, his pastimes, also relishing our association with devotees of the Lord. And secondly, we want to give this to others. Therefore, Madhyamadikari, second class, second level devotees, become Krishna conscious, and then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very pleased if we can give Krishna consciousness to those who are innocent and avoid those who are demonic. There's different types of demons or miscreants. Namam duskritina mudha prapadyante naradhama mayaya aparita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. So in our Krishna consciousness movement, Prabhupada said, preaching is like fighting. And he always refers to the devotees as soldiers. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is calling Śrīla Prabhupāda the great Senapati, the commander-in-chief. So the analogy here is that the Krishna consciousness movement is like a large international army. And we're going out every day after being strengthened by our association and worshiping of the Lord in his deity form, to give this wonderful experience to those who are innocent, those who are not inimical to the devotees or inimical to the Lord. And of course, devotees are taking all risks to inject Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So they're very dear. Nachitasmin manusheshu kaschinam, that Priya Kritama, that the devotee of the Lord is very dear, the one who is trying to give, taking all risks to distribute Krishna consciousness. So we take the inspiration from Haridas Thakur, the Qazi, in the presence of the Hussein Shah. He said, oh, he must be punished. If he doesn't repent and he doesn't recite the Quran, then we'll whip him in marketplaces and he shall die. So the Qazi was the spiritual mentor of the emperor, and the emperor was quite compassionate. Actually, he saw that Haridas Thakur was a great saintly person, but he had to comply with the Qazi. And so Haridas Thakur said, you may cut my body into pieces, but I'll never stop chanting Hare Krishna. So the devotee is Abhayam. He is fearless. And he goes out and tries to deliver the souls to the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna. And this is very, very pleasing to the Lord. And this is the mission of the Lord. Therefore, Śrīla Prabhupāda is saying, preaching is fighting. And after the Rath Yatra in New York in 1976, it was very successful Rath Yatra, right down Fifth Avenue, Manhattan. And then Prabhupada was feeling quite ill afterwards. And the associates of Śrīla Prabhupada, his lieutenants, oh, Prabhupada, you should rest. Just take some rest. We'll take you to Hawaii or somewhere nice. Prabhupada said, no, there's so much preaching to be done. He said, never take away my right to struggle for Krishna. That's what he was saying, telling them. And he turned around, he was quite indignant. How dare you? Don't tell me to rest. And so Prabhupada was constantly traveling and going to all his different centers. He was in Bombay, then he was in Kenya. Then from Kenya, he went back to India. Then from there, he went to Calcutta, and then Bhubaneswar. And Bhubaneswar, he was pushing, open a temple here. He was just pushing all of us devotees, the disciples. He was just pushing us constantly and pushing himself. Although he had 2 heart attacks, a stroke, he 80 years old practically, and he's just like constantly spreading Krishna consciousness, even in the face of ill health. He never stopped. Great transcendental Superman. empowered by the Lord. Krishna Shakti Vinana He Tara Pravartan. So this is the power of the Lord. It says that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would bless people directly. Shakshad, he would bless someone directly. When he was performing his kirtans in Navadvip, the people who saw him, they would be drowned in ecstatic love of God. He would just distribute love of God unconditionally. And the other way is that Avesha, that he would enter the body of empower one of his devotees, like Nakula Brahmachari, Nishringananda Brahmachari. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually entered into their bodies and empowered them. So anyone who would see or touch or hear from the Kula Brahmachari, he would become ecstatic in love of God. The Krishna Prema was being, this gift was being given generously. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered into and empowered Śrīla Prabhupāda. Shaktavish. Avesha means to enter in and empower. So Śrīla Prabhupada is definitely very, very much empowered to establish this great movement right in the middle of Kali Yuga. Very, very difficult in Kali Yuga for people to come to understand that they're the eternal spirit souls, servant of the Lord. Very, very challenging for them. And therefore, Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, Gauranga Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda and Haridas to go door to door and simply beg, please chant Hare Krishna, the powerful holy name of the Lord. This name is full of potency and Shakti. Nam Narakari Bahudani Jasharva Shakti Statarpata Niyamita Smaranena Kala. That the name is full of all of the potencies of God. He has so many potencies, as we can see when we look out into the sky. So much creative potency. He enters into all the planets and maintains their orbits, he says in the Bhagavad-Gītā. Like this, Krishna is so powerful. And all those potencies he's invested in this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, especially in this age of Kali. Kali Kalir Dharm Harinam Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Vinanai Tara Pravartana. Kali Kalir Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar, Nama Hoite Sarva Jagat Nishtar, that the entire universe can be bestowed with love of God simply by this chanting of the holy name. So this is our business, is to perform this Yuga Dharma and understand that the name of God, Krishna, and Krishna are non-different. And he is giving this mercy through his devotees to the public and people in general. Otherwise, this modern godless society is actually doomed to destruction. Krishna tells Arjuna, the 16th chapter, Etam dristam avastabhya nastalpa buddha anastalpa buddhaya prabhavanti ugra karmana shayaya jagato hitaha. That those persons who deny the existence of God, who simply say that you simply have to enjoy, engage your senses, and go after money, and then gratify yourself senses, godless civilization. Krishna says that their civilizations have a very short lifespan, that they will all crumble. And we see that again and again. Prahlad says to his father, Matir na Krishna paratatsvatova mito pipadita grihavratanam. Adanta gobir vishatam tamishram puna puna charvita charvananam. So Prabhupada says this puna puna charvita charvananam means that again and again we see all these materialistic empires like the Roman Empire, this Genghis Khan Empire, so many different empires, they grow and then they crash. British Empire was all over the world. What Prabhupada said, when he went to London, it was very rainy. He said, they say that the sun never sets in the British Empire. He says, but I think the sun never rises in the British Empire. And they said, how do you like London? He said, it's a green hell, always raining. So, puna charvita charvananam. Prahlad Maharaj says, my dear father, you've taken a vow to enjoy the material world. And even by your own efforts or the efforts of a whole community of convention of people, you cannot understand devotional service. You cannot understand the superior position of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, you're simply going on birth after birth, chewing the chewed, trying to create empires, and then they crash, and then you take birth again. And unfortunately, in this Kali Yuga, because there's so much sinful activity going on, then Krishna says, Tanaham Dushatakuran Samsareshu Naradamam Shipami Ajashu Ashubam Asurashu Evayorishu Asurim Yonim Apana Mudho Janmani. He says that they take birth again and again in demoniac species of dogs and cats. So you may be a big president of a country like Nigeria or somewhere. In your next life, you may take birth in the family of cats and dogs. This is Krishna's his announcement in Bhagavad-Gītā that if you engage in all this materialistic demonic activities, then you will take a lower birth. He says, Shipamiya Jashamashabha means I cast them into the lower species of life. So it's actually very dangerous. This godless society, people are committing spiritual suicide. They don't understand, but they're committing spiritual suicide. They don't understand that the soul is eternal and that if you waste this human form of life, then you can take birth in the lower species of life for millions of times. For killing cows, for example, one has to take birth in the hellish planets for every hair on the cow, the flesh from which you ate. So people every day, big leaders are eating hamburgers every day. How many cows have been slaughtered for these hamburgers? Therefore, we accept Shastra Chakshush. Shastra Vidim Utrija Vartate Kamakarate Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti. We accept the authority of scripture. We don't accept the authority of scientists who say there was a big explosion and then there was some kind of biological evolution and now we have the humans and the whole universe is working so wonderfully. We don't accept that. We accept that the Lord has created these universes, and then he enters into each universe, and then he Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye, he empowers Lord Brahma to create all the various species of life, and that all things going on under his direction. Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sayacharacharam. Hetunanena Kuntiya Jagat Viparivartate. That everything is going on. Not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, or Vishnu, his expansion as Vishnu. So they they're not even interested in trying to understand what is the absolute truth. And therefore, they're very unfortunate. And the business of Lord Chaitanya's movement, Śrīla Prabhupāda's movement, is to make the unfortunate fortunate, or else their future is very dark, very, very dark. We just have to accept what the Shastra is saying. Chintama parimeyam cha pralayantam upashitaha kamapa bhoga parama Itavad iti nischita, that they're just full of anxieties, and their only understanding of happiness and pleasure is to exploit the material world. Kamapa Boga Parama, their goal in life is simply to enjoy this material world. And Patanti Narake Sucho, they're gliding into the place where Lord Yamaraj's courts are. At that time of death, Kapila describes how, the materialistic living entity in this third canto, we learn of how Kapila is saying, at the time of death, he sees the Yamadutas. They come and they take his subtle body along with his soul, and they go down on the royal road to hell within a few moments, down to the hellish planets, which are described also in the fifth canto, the various hellish planets. And there they're punished for all their sinful activities, their adharma, their adharmic activities. Therefore, the devotee of the Lord, we are very, very fortunate to receive this mercy of the great acharyas, the line of acharyas, Śrīla Prabhupāda, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, all the great acharyas. We have to accept and show gratitude for their compassion and mercy, and try to please Lord Chaitanya, who is the gardener. Says that he's the gardener of the tree of this Vaishnava society, and we have to go out and distribute this mercy to all the millions and millions of fallen souls without any hesitation, without any fear. Abhaya means fearless. So Śrīla Prabhupada is Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, that he went fearlessly over to demoniac West and preached vigorously and delivered so many souls and established this movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we want to, tat karma pravartana, we want to follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas and fulfill the desires and mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by remembering the Lord throughout our day and throughout our activities, the Lord will help us and guide us in our attempts to be more Krishna conscious and give Krishna consciousness to others. So I'll stop there, and maybe we could have a few comments or questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
Sahadev Prabhu, may I go first?
Yes, you may. Vijay
Yes.
Krishna, yes, you may. Yeah, you may go ahead. Thank you so much.
So Kripanidhi Prabhu, can you hear me?
Sure, yeah, I can hear you quite well, yeah.
Yes. My question is because you mentioned in your class that because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we are having access to the most intimate pastimes, Vrindavan pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth. And as far as I know, you are located in India. I think it's Mayapur. So
Yes.
I guess that you know the Indian citizens very well. So based on all of this, my question would be, why is it that people who were born and raised in India and because born and raised in India, their religious upbringing was at least to some extent based on Bhagavad-Gītā, where Lord Krishna chants to Arjuna that the ones who worship the demigods are not very intelligent, because the the blessings of the demigods are not different from temporary. So my question, my exact question would be, why is it that people who were born and raised in India are so fond of worshiping the demigod pantheon, all the different demigods, Kuvera, Ganesh, Mother Sarasvati, Lakshmi Devi, etc. How do you explain that these people, because Lord Chaitanya wants for them to come out of India and preach Krishna consciousness to the rest of the world, but it seems to me that they insist on at least a great part of the population in India, they are still very fond of worshiping the pantheon of demigods. How do you explain that they are so fond of it? That would be my question.
Well, it's described that even when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, he had many adversaries who were the Brahmin caste. And Śrīla Prabhupāda in the Adi Lila, he quotes that in Kali Yuga, demons take birth in Brahmin. He quotes from I believe, the Garuda Purana, one of the Puranas, Garga Samhita maybe, that there's a quote that in Kali Yuga, the demons take birth in Brahmin caste and misguide people and cause disturbance in society. So the influence of Kali is there to misguide people. And Prabhupada said also that this Ramakrishna mission, this Paramahansa Ramakrishna, he said, yeah, you worship any demigod, doesn't matter. He's a Mayavadi, which is atheistic. And he said it spoiled the whole of Bengal. So Nirvashesha Shunyavadi, it's right there in the prayer to Prabhupada, that the whole world is overrun. And the Mayavadis, they say you can worship any Ganesh, Durga, Mahakali, Shiva, whoever you choose, because these are mundane forms. And because you're still in Maya, you think their form is real. But they say Jagan Mitya, Brahma Satya Jagan Mitya. The truth is just the Brahman effulgence of Krishna. They don't say of Krishna, but they say the Brahman effulgence, the ultimate truth. And Jagan Mitya, whatever you see it form, whatever desire you have, it's all illusion. What they don't understand is that we can serve, pure devotional service comes from the soul, and that desire to serve the Lord in pure devotional service is called Yukta Vairagya, or positive renunciation. That we use everything, Iha Yasya Harir Dasye Karmana Manasagira, Nikivashva Avasta Su, Jivan Mukta Su Yuchite. You can use this material energy and material elements and the senses, working senses, knowledge acquiring, all the various elements in the service of God, and the God is a person. So that is what the Vaishnava Sampradaya is now promoting and pushing back. Bhaktisiddhanta also had to blast and preach against all these various apasampradayas and these misconceptions. So it's huge hodgepodge. People think, being misguided by what they call chala dharma, or word jugglery, false leaders, pseudo incarnations, described by Jadabharat to Maharaj Rahugana. There's so much misinformation being indoctrinating people throughout the world, and that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even during his time, he was attacked and ridiculed and blasphemed by Brahmin caste. It's the Brahmins that instigated the Qazi to go send his constables to break the Madanga. They were actually atheistic. And that Prabhupada says, this worshipping of demigods and thinking they're just some mundane forms, and the God, Krishna, the name of Krishna and Vishnu are the form, that they're also like the demigods, they're just material, they are limited and so on, and subject to death and so on, that this is atheism. It's a form of atheism. So atheism comes in different forms. And this is one of them, this whole idea that I can worship Ganesh, or they don't even worship them properly. You know, the Hindus nowadays, they're all eating cows even in Calcutta. They eat non-veg whenever they want. That's not the part of the Vedas at all. So we are mounting a revolution against this hodgepodge and this speculation, which was promoted especially by the Ramakrishna mission, this Paramahansa Ramakrishna, misguiding people. Vivekananda, people put him on a big pedestal. Oh, he's so great. He went to Chicago. He did nothing. He's a meat eater and a speculator, pure speculation. Prabhupada said, Mayaya aparita jnana. They're non-devotees. They're actually offensive to the Lord. They're just a different color, a different style of atheism, basically. So that's my answer, is that misguided, due to the influence of Kali Yuga, so much deviation has evolved over the last 5,000 years. And now we're in the beginning of the golden age of Lord Chaitanya, where he establishes the real pure Siddhanta, the Vaishnava Siddhanta given. And the six Goswamis are empowered by Lord Chaitanya, and their literatures are now coming up. Śrīla Prabhupāda's purports are creating a revolution throughout the world. This is a spiritual revolution, that Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. That the Supreme Lord is the causeless cause of all causes, and that he is the Param Ishvara, the supreme controller of everything. His name is Krishna, and he is simultaneously everywhere, but he's living in Goloka Vrindavan, having his eternal pastimes. So this is the kind of model that's being presented in Srimad Bhagavatam, from the first canto to the 12th canto, and describing throughout the different cantos all the different pitfalls, warning about the pitfalls of materialistic life, of demigod worship. So many things are there in the Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Just one more thing, very quickly. We had an exchange in the messenger, and I asked you for you to send me your Zoom ID and the password, because I would like to attend your Zoom classes. Why is it that you're taking so much time to send it to me?
Oh, okay. I'll
My
get
name is Vijaya Krishna Das. I am your Facebook friend, and we have been exchanging in the messenger, and I would like to be a part of your Zoom classes.
Haribo, Karuna? What's my Zoom link?
You don't have a Zoom.
Could you put in the
Send it to him later on. I mean,
okay.
after the class.
Okay, you can send it to me, and I will send the link as my Zoom link.
Yes, to my messenger, please.
Sure, Vijay
Krishna.
Yes, Vijaya Krishna Das. It is my messenger name. We already had an exchange. I'm waiting for your Zoom ID and your password for me to be a part of your Zoom classes, because I just love your classes.
Hare Krishna. Vijay Krishna Das, right?
Yes, Vijaya Krishna Das on Facebook and Messenger. We are Facebook friends.
Okay, I'll definitely contact you. I'll give you the link as soon as the
Yes,
class.
Prabhu, thank you very much. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Dear devotees, does anyone else have something to ask or to share? All right, Govinda Prabhu, you may unmute.
All right, thank you very much,
Okay, go ahead.
big brother.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Govinda
Thank you,
ji.
Prabhuji. Please accept my
Never.
respectful obeisances.
All glories to
All
Prabhupada.
glories to you, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda, all glories to the assembled devotees. Prabhu,
Right.
can you please kindly explain further about this worship of the demigods? Well, Krishna says those who worship demigods, they go to the demigods.
If they do it,
they do it right. Good. I'm happy
properly.
I'm happy you said that. If they don't even do it right. So that was actually answers my question, because people have a notion, they have some idea, concept that by worshiping these demigods, they go to them. And also same thing, you know, like devotees. Some of us, you know, we think that we are worshiping Krishna, so we will go to Krishna. But it's not automatic that because we are devotees of Krishna, we go to Krishna. There are a process, there are a certain pass marks that we need to pass before we can be inherited to the spiritual world. And so the other religious bodies also have the same notion, because, you know, I'm a follower of Jesus. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Muhammad. So automatically I'm going to heaven. So meanwhile, you know, to go to a place like Brahma Loka or Shiva Loka, according to the very literatures, those very powerful sannyasis, they go to such places if they are unable to, you know, reach home back to Godhead. So could you please explain that? Because I know most of the people that worship these demigods, they worship these demigods for material benedictions. So when their benedictions are satisfied, then where is the merit for them to go to such demigods? If you can elaborate more on that, please.
Right. So there's 18 Puranas. 6 Puranas are for those in the mode of goodness. Padma Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam Purana, these are Puranas in the mode of goodness. Then there's 6 Puranas in the mode of passion. And then there's 6 Puranas in the mode of ignorance. So for example, in the 5th canto, we learned that the dacoits, some very low-grade people, they captured Jadabharat and they tried to perform human sacrifice. So Prabhupada also says that even in India, there's some tribal people, some very animalistic people who perform human sacrifice. So we know that when these dacoits tried to sacrifice Jadabharat to Mahakali, she was so angry that she came out of her own statue and killed all the dacoits, and the witches who were her followers drank their blood and became intoxicated. It's like, if you think that in Calcutta they have a slaughterhouse, so the Hindus go there and they buy animals that are slaughtered, like goats especially, and offer to Mahakali. That is not the injunctions given in the Shiva Purana, where you on the dark moon night, you have to chant this mantra, Mam Saha, and you can cut the throat of a goat, and then this way you're kind of protected from sinful reaction to some extent. I don't even know if you're completely protected, because Mamsaha means I eat you, then you eat me. So they're not following even the injunctions for animal slaughter or whatever. The proper prescriptions for worshiping the demigods has to be given in the various scriptures, not that you make up your own idea. Dharma projita kaitravottra, kicking out all materialistic and hypocritical religion. That is Veda Vyasa saying that. So Akama Savaka, it's given in the second canto that, yeah, you can worship the sun god if you want health, you can worship Uma for a good wife, so on and so forth. It continues on and on for strength, you worship Vayu, but you have to know the process. Just like people, Prabhupada said that the Sahajas, oh yeah, I'm doing Bhakti Yoga. I can dance with girls and I'm chanting Hare Krishna. There's Sahaja, Prakriti Sahajas. They're very materialistic, but they're not doing Bhakti. This is not Bhakti. Therefore, Shruti Shmiti Puranadi Pancharachi Vidir Vidam. Aikantiki Harir Bhaktir Upatayaya Vakalpate. Upataya, your disturbance to society by not following Shrutis and Smritis according to the Parampara. You're making up, you're concocting, you're word juggling, and you're saying, oh, this means this means like Ram Krishna mission. Oh, fish are the fruit of the sea. Why don't you eat some fish? So all the Bengalis now, they eat fish. You're not supposed to eat fish. It's the fruit of the sea. Falki jal. It's all complete concoction and chala dharma, which means word jugglery, changing the scripture. As you say, the Christians, Prabhupada used to tell Cardinal Daniel in Paris, it says thou shalt not kill. It doesn't say murder. Jesus is very intelligent. And when he says murder, it means murder. When he says kill, it's much broader. Don't kill. Don't kill anything. So they change the scripture, oh, thou shalt not murder. You've concocted, and now you have to suffer for killing all these animals. All the Christian countries, they had a huge world war, Second World War, First World War. Prabhupada said, yeah, they're killing cows. So they have to get a reaction. It doesn't matter how much they go to church like this, you're getting a reaction. So unless you have a self-realized soul, Tadvidi Pranipatena, to give you guidance, and Bhagavad-Gītā As It Is the transparent message coming directly through the spiritual master. Shakshad Hari Tvera Samastra Shastra. Shakshad means direct representation of God himself. Shakshad, that's what it means, direct. That the spiritual acharyas are direct representatives of God himself. And Acharya Mamvijani, Krishna said they should be worshipped as good as my very self. So they're saying how to properly engage in your devotion to God. And therefore he says, Kamaistai Gyana Prapadintiniya Devata. People with materialistic desires worship the demigods, Tamtam Niyamam Ashtaya. And therefore, they simply may go to the heavenly planets, but then after some time, they fall back to Shine Punya Marchalokam. They fall again into the earthly sphere, into this Marchaloka, this part of the world. So what's the use? Maharaj Barhishmati, Prati Barhishat. Narada Muni came to him and said, why are you doing all this karma kanda, all these rituals, and you're doing all these rituals to appease God, but all these animals that you're sacrificing, and then Narada Muni showed him that they're waiting to kill him in his next life. So Narada Muni started preaching to him how you have to give up this karma kanda, this religious rituals and so on, that the goal of life is apavarga, becoming free from these miseries of material world. So why? Prabhupada says Narada Muni was very compassionate on Maharaj Prachina Barishat because he's a descendant of Dhruva Maharaj. And Dhruva Maharaj is a pure lover of God. He's a great devotee of the Lord. So there are concessions, but you still have to follow strictly. You want to eat meat? Okay, you eat it once a month at a certain time, do a certain follow the specifics, and but nowadays they hold slaughterhouses. Prabhupada says slaughterhouse civilization. You're killing millions and millions of animals in the name of religion. You know, God has gifted us these animals to eat. And what's happening? You're inviting horrible, horrible disaster upon your country by just wanton killing. Prabhupada said, slaughterhouse civilization. And then he warns in the 10th canto, if they don't come to their senses, and he says that this nuclear war could happen, or wars are a consequence of killing, wanton killing. Not that you go in the backyard and you kill a goat on a certain day once a month, and offer it to the Durga. Durga doesn't accept it, but her followers do. No, it's become completely out of control, completely godless. And therefore, people, why is there war? Why is there war? Stop the war, stop the war. They're accumulating so many sinful reactions, and they have to be punished, unfortunately. So our business is to try and, as much as possible, distribute Krishna consciousness to them. Prabhupada, I remember he gave a lecture, and at the end of his lecture, he says, so I am stressing book distribution. If they touch my books, their lives will become perfect. So this is our business. He said that the most important activity is this book distribution. He always emphasized that because these books are the book Bhagavat. It is non-different from God. It's written by Veda Vyas, and Śrīla Prabhupāda is given his purports. There's the person Bhagavat and there's the book Bhagavat. So people have these books in their homes and gradually they'll become transformed. Very powerful. Prabhupada said they're just like bombs. He said in the Second World War, the bombs were just falling like rain. So he wants us to just distribute these, especially Bhagavad-Gītā, Bhagavatams, just distribute them like rainfall, like bombs coming down. That is our business, to transform the world. Otherwise, what is the hope? What is the hope? Slaughterhouse civilization. What to do? In the name of demigod worship, in the name of Allah and Jehovah and Jesus. No, this is our all Dharma, Bhado, Vidharma, 5 types of irreligion that look like religion. It's given in the 7th canto. 5 kinds of irreligion that look like religion, dressed up like religion, but irreligious completely. So I hope that throws some light on.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sade Prabhu, I don't see you.
Yes, you may go ahead, please.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. As usual, we always enjoy your Krishna Katha. You said something, Prabhu, which is something interesting, and I've been trying to understand it because people don't seem to want this kind of statement, but it's the truth. You said that preaching means fighting. Preaching means fighting.
Prabhupada said.
Yes. And when you have to think about it, the fighting, of course, is supposed to be against Maya. And Maya, of course, does not put up that much resistance before Krishna. But those pseudo devotees, those who put on the garb of devotees, like you're saying about Ramakrishna Vivekananda, I had somebody saying that, criticizing ISKCON, that the devotees in ISKCON have the gut to start criticizing Ramakrishna. They were saying, it was saying like this. So, I mean, those who look like saints, even within our own society, when our preaching is not changing or creating a wave to make people to follow strictly, then that spirit of preaching is fighting is no more. So I really want you to tell us more. You know, this spirit of preaching is fighting, because people just wants to, you know, lay down the arms immediately. Okay, let us have peace. But things are going wrong, and people are not doing the right thing. So please tell us more how preaching is fighting. I really love to hear more of that. Thank you.
Well, I have a book. One of my godbrothers wrote a book called Ohari Krishna Airport. It's about preaching in Chicago. And we would, in these airports in America, people are very, very hostile. And so devotees were, of course, in Prabhupada time, I mean, Prabhupada was just throwing us like warriors, just throwing us into the battle. You know, on the front lines was these airports. We opened all the airports in America. And we, every day, you know, and we were young. We were 20 years old. We were kids. And so many times the demons, you know, dressed up in suits with their briefcases, come and hit the devotees with their briefcases. And the Christians, they would come, especially the Christians, sometimes also the Jews, and try to break up our book sales. But Prabhupada we're just distributing millions of Prabhupada's books by his power. He was empowering us. We felt very empowered by Śrīla Prabhupāda's presence on the planet. And so it was like a war. I was fighting. Many times, this one devotee that wrote the book, he was a karate expert, Tranakarta. And so many times he would defend devotees, and he, you know, beat up the demons. It was demons against devotees. Sometimes there was one barber, and he had a little barber shop in the airport, and he hated devotees. He would come and he would jab a pen into Tranakarta's back while he was selling books. And then one day the janitors, they came to devotees. They said, "Oh, did you hear what happened to that guy, the barbers?" Now, what happened? He got in a fight with his wife, and she pulled a gun out of the drawer and blew his head out, blew his brains out. So this is like a huge war going on in this during Prabhupada's presence in the 70s there and there. This huge war. There's so much hostility, but so many people were taking books. And Prabhupada said, good publicity, bad publicity, it's all good. They're chanting Hare Krishna because many of these Christians and Jewish organizations would put on the media, on TV, oh, they're bad, they're brainwashing people, they're stealing our youth. It's history repeats itself. Socrates was condemned to death by the Senate in Greece. that he was misguiding young people, put him to death. So when he's preaching Krishna consciousness, the demons become very upset, very angry. Why are you saying there's this? Why? Even those disguised as religious people, they're also demonic. So it was a great war, and we just felt so empowered by Prabhupada. We knew that this was the greatest thing to ever happen in this historical period. And so it was constant battle. I remember people hitting me, knocking me out. We call them rednecks. And then police would arrest us. You know, you'd be surprised if you didn't get arrested every 2 weeks in America. They would call the police would arrest us, they would have to release us because we invoked the First Amendment in America, freedom of religious expression. So yeah, it was a war, and we were, Prabhupada said, very successful. We're seeing so much success. People are joining every day. The more the demons were becoming indignant and angry and putting us out on the news, more people would say, oh, there must be something real here. Let me go and investigate. Let me check out the Hare Krishnas. So many young people were joining Prabhupada. So yes, it is a battle. It's a battle. The demoniac people, they're very enraged if you go against their beliefs, or if they think they're being intimidated by you preaching to them, thou shalt not kill, or your path is contaminated or convoluted by false teachers and so on, and they become very angry. That's was their experience in our preaching. It's a war, definitely a war. And the agents of Maya and Kali are everywhere. Prabhupada was very careful not to mention Vivekananda's name too much. I don't think he ever mentioned it in his purports. He just said pseudo swamis and pseudo yogis. But in our conversations with him on his morning walks or in conversation in his rooms, he would say, Ramakrishna Mission has ruined Bengal. Or, what has Vivekananda done? Nothing. Or he'd say, Ramakrishna Mission, chicken eating sannyasis. They're eating chicken in their temples, and they're wearing saffron. So he would say that, but not in his purports. He would just talk about pseudo swamis, pseudo incarnations. So much cheating going on in Kali Yuga.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And Srimad Prabhu, thank you for this beautiful or important question. Anyone else with something to ask or to share? Prabhuji, once in a while, thank you so much, of course, as always, for this beautiful Krishna Katha. Once in a while, I do write on different topics and themes of Krishna consciousness. And I'm already in the process of writing something to share. And since you are here, and from Srimad Bhagavatam Acharya's question, is leading me to ask this question so I can have better understanding when I do write what I'm in the process writing. That is, my understanding is that ISKCON as an organization is owned by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Nobody else owns ISKCON. We have GBCs. They are, according to Śrīla Prabhupāda's own wish and desire, to be the head of managing ISKCON. But GBC does not own ISKCON. whatever GBC, the managers, do or legislate that ISKCON should follow are all supposed to be based on the teachings and the desires of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And therefore, my question and concern is that we as devotees of ISKCON, are we supposed to follow authorities first before following truth, or follow truth before authorities? In other words, if authorities does not follow the truth as given to us by Śrīla Prabhupada, are we obliged to follow such an authority? And I specifically said that ISKCON is owned by Śrīla Prabhupada. It's not owned by Krishna even. This is my understanding, and I need clarification from you. Because if we say that ISKCON is owned by Krishna, nobody owns Krishna. We are all sons and daughters of Krishna. And so anybody from anywhere can come into ISKCON and say that this is Krishna's, and I can come here and say whatever I know about my father, whatever I want to say about my father, God, I can do that. But it is Prabhupada's, and he has given us, he's streamlined whatever he wanted us to do in serving Krishna. So this is my humble question based on my understanding of what ISKCON is and what the followers of ISKCON are supposed to do in this movement. If you have any insight, you may help me with that, because today is Friday. Hopefully by tomorrow, I usually share something I call Weekend Digest, which oftentimes is based on the discourses we have during this Srimad Bhagavatam discourses. Hare Krishna.
Well, that's a loaded question. First of all, Prabhupada, yes, he said, I'm the leader of the movement. You have to put founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami on the signs, all the books, like this. However, he did say, and I heard him, oh, this is your movement. And Bhaktisiddhanta has sent you, you're like my fathers. He also mentions that you're like my fathers and mothers, taking care of me, I'm an old man, and so on. And he did say, Bhaktisiddhanta has sent you to help me to serve my spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta. So the bottom line is Trinada Pisa Nichena, that we have to be engaged in devotion and be part of the movement with great humility and tolerance, and never expect any kind of position or respect, or and always offer respects to everyone. Śrīla Prabhupada has outlined the laws and directives, and he's also, when he started the GBC, he formed the GBC in the mid-70s. The date, I'm not sure, 74, 73. And then they all came together. There was a big problem because Tamal Krishna was formed the Radha Damodar bus party in America, and all the brahmacharis, they were preaching to all the brahmacharis in all the temples. And there was a huge conflict created between the grihastas who ran the temples and the sannyasi Tamal Krishna. And there was a great conflict that came up in Mayapur Purnima. And then Prabhupada, he was very concerned about this. And he said, okay, GBCs, now let's, you have to make a decision here. He said the GBC is the highest authority. But he also took Tamal Krishna in his room and told him, I want you to go to China. You're causing so much trouble in America. And then they had a vote on certain things, and Prabhupada said, I have one vote, and everyone has a vote, and let's vote on different things. One of the things was they wanted to segregate women from living in the temples. Like single women should not live in the temples. But in the West, we had brahmacharini ashrams right there in Los Angeles. And they were doing as much preaching as the men. You know, Prabhupada adjusted things based on the social norms. You can't just treat them like women in India. They're not. There's no brahmacharini ashrams here that I see, and so on. So Prabhupada would adjust things. And he wanted management to be run by GBC so he could do his translation work and get to the 12th canto before he left. But we see that he had to intervene so many times to make decisions because of immaturity amongst his leaders, poor decisions being made, sloppy management. And so he always had to, for example, the whole Bombay fiasco, the Vrindavan fiasco. You know, yes, Prabhupada, we can have the governor come, the temple's ready. And Prabhupada got there and he was shocked. And so they had to postpone the opening of the Krishna Bhagavatam temple for 6-9 months or something. Same problem in Bombay. So yes, Prabhupada also said, ISKCON is my body, not different from me. If an authority instructs a devotee and he has authority, but it seems like a dictator, then devotee has to question that and challenge. We have to use our common sense because that person, many leaders have come and gone. We have very big leaders because of this ahankar, the false ego, adoration, distinction, profit, gain. It's all described by Bhaktisiddhanta. Prabhupada quotes Bhaktisiddhanta as weeds. These are weeds that are choking up your devotional creeper. And you have to get rid of these weeds, like causing anxiety to other living entities. What speak of devotees, desiring worship, desiring followers, all these different problems. So whether the person is condescending or working arrogantly or trying to control, he's not a servant. The leaders have to be servants of the Vaishnavas. We are servant of the servant of the servant. Even Śrīla Prabhupāda, he was so humble dealing with his disciples. At the same time, he was extremely, in one sense, very humble. Although the spiritual master has to be dealt with great respect. So in my experience, persons who had motivations and hidden agendas, Krishna dealt with them. You know, you can't act on the platform of false ego and think that Radharani is going to protect you. Aparad means against Radharani, especially sadhu ninda. If you offend the Vaishnavas, it's the elephant offense. You're destroying your devotional garden, your devotional creeper. So when certain people came to me and said something or other, even if they had authority, I'm not doing that. I'm not cooperating with that program. Sorry. I'm with Prabhupada. So we have to be discerning, you know, to discriminate and see, use our common sense and intelligence and see what's going on. And we know that those who have acted in a very dictatorial way, the history of ISKCON is quite, you know, full of anomalies and all kinds of vicissitudes and so on, problems. Because when you're a leader, you think you have absolute power, and you can become quite corrupted by this leadership position. Oh. And Krishna removes you. Krishna Surya Samaya Maya Hara Andhakar. Either Krishna, you should take in shelter of Krishna, or if you don't, if you act out of false ego, then you're in Maya, Krishna won't protect you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. If you would permit me, and sincerely, I'm seeking this permission from you, that you are speaking today, but I have one verse. I think Thakur Murari Prabhu is here. We have one group in Washington, D.C., where devotees, we get together once in a week, and we read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we discuss it. So this week, but this past Tuesday, we discussed a particular verse, which is very interesting, which also talks about what we are discussing. So if you wouldn't mind, I would like to share it. And then,
Sure.
Okay, so let me see here. Okay, I got it. So this is from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 1, text 218. This is not coming from me. This is coming from Śrīla Prabhupāda himself. It says, Śrīla Narottam Das Thakur says, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Payachekeva. Unless one serves a Vaishnava, he cannot be delivered. The spiritual master initiates the disciple to deliver him. And if the disciple executes the order of the spiritual master and does not offend other Vaishnavas, his path is clear. Consequently, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested all the Vaishnavas present to show mercy toward the two brothers, Rupa and Sanatana, who had just been initiated by the Lord. When a Vaishnava sees that another Vaishnava is a recipient of the Lord's mercy, he becomes very happy. Vaishnavas are not envious. If a Vaishnava, by the mercy of the Lord, is empowered by him to distribute the Lord's holy name all over the world, other Vaishnavas become very joyful. That is, if they are truly Vaishnavas. One who is envious of the success of a Vaishnava is certainly not a Vaishnava himself, but is an ordinary mundane man. Envy and jealousy are manifested by mundane people, not by Vaishnavas. Why should a Vaishnava be envious of another Vaishnava who is successful in spreading the holy name of the Lord? An actual Vaishnava is very pleased to accept another Vaishnava who is bestowing the Lord's mercy. A mundane person in the dress of a Vaishnava should not be respected but rejected. This is enjoined in the Shastra, Upeksha. The word upeksha means neglect. One should neglect an envious person. A preacher's duty is to love the Supreme Persons of Godhead, make friendships with Vaishnavas, show mercy to the innocent, and reject or neglect those who are envious or jealous. Here is my major reason why I reference this. There are many jealous people in the dress of Vaishnavas in this Krishna consciousness movement. And they should be completely neglected. There is no need to serve a jealous person who is in the dress of a Vaishnava. So in other words, I am understanding that if one knows the truth that has been presented to us by Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupāda. Sometimes some people say that Bhaktisiddhanta said this, Bhaktivinoda said this. But who are we to understand what Bhaktisiddhanta or Bhaktivinoda said if we do not first understand what Prabhupada said? And so going by what Śrīla Prabhupada has taught us and has given to us, when we find somebody going against that, why should anyone be silent? That is my concern. Of course, I also understand that there is an etiquette of approaching even those who are derailing. I understand and I appreciate that, and I recommend that we all follow that. But if someone is telling us that because this person is an authority, because this person is a guru, because this person is a JBC, because this person is temple president, that is what he has said, so we all have to accept it. That doesn't make sense to me. And it's very difficult for me to accept it. That is my stance.
Yeah, so what we have to understand, one time we tried to remove our temple president in Vancouver because for different reasons. Prabhupada wrote us and said that Krishna has put him there, and by Krishna's will, Krishna will remove him. So don't make politics. So we have to be very careful, but we can't be stupid. If we see someone is deviating from Prabhupada's directives, which is going on, people are coming in with new ideas. For example, Prabhupada gave Brahmin initiation to women. There's a whole a TV, like a film showing Vishaka Devi, Prabhupada whispering in her ear, the Gayatri Mantra. Now certain leaders, and even Guru, is saying, oh, women shouldn't take Brahmin. This is direct, a blatant departure from Śrīla Prabhupada's directives. Things like this should be taken up by the GBC, who are supposedly representing Prabhupada's authority. You can't change Prabhupada's directive. By his actions, he gave Brahmin initiation to women. No more argument. No quoting of, some obscure scripture somewhere. You want to quote? You can quote Prabhupada. Prabhupada also quotes Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta in his books, especially in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada says, in his Anubhasya, Bhakti Siddhanta says this, and he quotes Bhakti Vinod Thakur many times. So we can understand that Prabhupada is also taking reference from the writings of the other great acharyas. Sridhar Swami is quoted also. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoted. So we are seeing through Srila Prabhupada's prism, through his lens. And these things have to be discussed and brought up to the GBC. If they start deviating, then where does it end? Where does it end? These things have to be presented to the GBC at their meetings. At the same time, I've seen devotees become very despondent because of perhaps the leadership not acting on certain deviations. And they become so disturbed that they leave Prabhupada's movement and they go and join, as we say, they cross the river. They go to Gaudiya Math. We should also protect ourselves and hang on to Śrīla Prabhupada and have faith that these things will be rectified. I saw a very powerful temple president who I worked with for years, very powerful, very prominent, very successful. He started criticizing the GBCs, the guru system, and ultimately within a few years he was gone. So we have to be careful with this sadhu ninda for sure. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes a whole book on sadhu ninda, and in there, very, very, we have to be very careful in dealing. What to speak of Vaishnavas, even living entities, we have to be careful how we deal with all living beings, and not just Vaishnavas, but to speak of Vaishnavas. So these things are very carefully delineated in the purports of especially Chaitanya Charamrita. Prabhupada was being criticized by his god brothers. He told us that they're neophytes. They have no vision for spreading the movement. They're Kanishta. And he said in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book on Sadhu Ninda, he says the Kanishta Adhikaris are almost devotees. He doesn't even give them the privilege. He says they're almost devotees. And the Madhyamadikari, they are devotees working on engaging in chanting the holy name purely. And that would be second class, where they see the Lord in everyone's heart and they try to deliver the holy name to the innocent and avoid the non-devotees or demoniac people. Avoid the demoniac people, not the non-devotees. Yeah, so we have to be, I personally, I had to hang on to Śrīla Prabhupāda during so much chaos in the 80s. I had to just, okay, this is Śrīla Prabhupāda's clear directives, and I'm just sticking with Prabhupada. A lot of my godbrothers, they got very despondent, very discouraged, and they just, it's also a weakness to give up on Śrīla Prabhupada's movement and say, oh, I'm going to go join Gaudiya Math, that's not the solution. The solution is to depend on Krishna and Śrīla Prabhupada. He's the one who went to the West. He's the one who established Lord Chaitanya's movement. We need to look no further than Śrīla Prabhupada's lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the response and the word of caution also. I personally truly appreciate it, because I understand that the easiest time to become an offender yourself is when you are actually right. Because when you are right and you feel because, or you understand because you are right, you can do whatever, that is when you become the wrong person. So thank you for the word of caution. Srimad Prabhu, please, you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So yes, only now my question has been answered. Krishna is fighting. So we find that the fighting sometimes is directed inwards, because there are different levels of devotees and there's different type of practices. So I want to give two experiences rapidly and then maybe ask my question. I just saw one video of a reverend sister that was very much disappointed, or what would I say, despaired by what was going on in the Catholic Church. And then she exposed a lot of things. I shared with some of the devotees. Some of the stories sound very familiar. That's why I shared it. And some of those things, so that, yes, they will not say anything. These deviations are going on, and it's becoming like, it's a tradition. Nobody wants to speak. If you speak, you're demonized. And then, obvious deviations from their practices. So that was one. And then another experience I had a long time ago, I was in an interfaith gathering, was representing ISKCON, and the Catholics were there. And then the Catholics came up, they disagree with everybody on an issue. And then I asked them a question, but your Bible said this. Your Bible said that you have to show compassion. And there was the story of the Good Samaritan, so it's not the priest, it's not the Levite, it's not, but just a Good Samaritan. So, yeah, so anyway, that is the issue. So the answer I got is what I want to share. So the Reverend Father who led their group told me, yes, we know all that, but we are going by the church stand. So that is it. They know the truth, but they will only go by what the church want them to do, even though it may not be what the Bible says. So I guess that we may not be able to totally avoid this same type of scenario with us in ISKCON, and it's already happening. That because it's an institution, sometimes they may prefer to take a convenient position rather than to go by the truth, because it may be very disturbing and destabilizing. So in that case, what do you think will be the future? Because this is going on, and from my own experience, the two experiences I've just cited, we cannot stop this. The institution, which is the authority, will claim to be right, even though it may not be scriptural, for convenience sake. So do we continue to remain disappointed, dejected, and despaired, or there will be some other way out eventually? Hare Krishna. I hope you get my question.
Yeah, we have to be careful because Rupa Goswami says we should not fall under the spell of lamentation. And we can change the movement from within. You can't change the movement by leaving the movement and then criticizing. Because without devotee association, positive association, you'll be a victim of Maya. So we want to change it from within. How do we do that? Well, we know that Krishna is within everyone's heart. We know that this movement is being directed by God himself, who is omniscient. Vedaham samatitani vartamani charjuna bhavishni chabutani mamtu vedana. Krishna is telling us, Lord Chaitanya is saying, he's omniscient. He knows past, present, future. So we have to have the faith, right? Yasya devi para bhaktir. We have to have the faith that this movement is intact and being guided by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that there are sincere people in leadership. Just like, oops, my battery is low. Just like there's a big debate about female Diksha gurus, and so one faction, the North America and Europe, they decided that, by looking at Prabhupada's purports and what Prabhupada said, women can become gurus if they're qualified. Śrīla Vaishastata Sudra Tepi Anti Param Katim. If someone is Krishna conscious, they can be a guru. So even though in India they object to it, certain parts of the world have accepted this policy of initiating gurus as females. So we have to go on, depending that Lord Chaitanya is guiding this movement, and that some of the devotees in this Vaishnava, this Sankirtan movement, this mission of Lord Chaitanya, in the future will become empowered. Just like the Gaudiya Math was falling apart, and Bhaktisiddhanta said, don't worry, don't bother Abai, they call him Abai Babu. He will do everything in the future. He said these walls are full of fire. He warned Śrīla Prabhupāda, these walls, they're fighting over this and that, the other. So the Gaudiya Math was crumbling, but from the, from the debris of the Gaudiya Math, one great personality emerged. So we have to pray that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu keeps guiding and delivering very enlightened and powerful individuals to keep the movement on track. So we see that Lord Chaitanya sent Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur as a ray of Vishnu to invigorate the Sankirtan movement. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed for the ray of Vishnu. We saw that it was predicted by Bhaktivinoda Thakur also that one great Senapati will emerge, and he emerged from the Gaudiya Math, and he went and simply sat down on a sidewalk and chanted Hare Krishna, and the whole thing exploded. So Lord Chaitanya can empower people. We should never underestimate the power of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I'm convinced that there are many, many sincere souls and devotees in the Hare Krishna movement who are not motivated or not carrying hidden agendas, but are simply simple in heart. They're not duplicitous. Prabhupada warned us about duplicity. He said it's like drinking donkey's urine. That's what it's quoted as. Duplicity, to have power, try to exploit in some way your position or ISKCON. So there are very sincere devotees. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a plan. So we want to have the faith that the Lord has his plan and that this movement is destined, to become very, very big. Otherwise, there's no hope. I mean, it's Kali Yuga and things are getting from bad to worse. And therefore, this must be the rising sun of Lord Chaitanya's movement. It's good. It's going to grow and grow and grow more. But it doesn't just happen when we want it to happen. Lord Chaitanya has a plan, and we have to, therefore, utsahan nischaya, we have to be enthusiastic, but also patient and also confident. Patience is important. And dharya, it comes from the word being very grave or determined, confident, like that. So we continue in our devotional service. We don't walk around with our eyes blindfolded. We can point out defects or corruption or whatever, deviations, but we want to stick with Śrīla Prabhupāda's movement for sure. Stick with Prabhupada's lotus feet. He is the Shaktivesh avatar of this particular period in the Vaishnava history. No question about it. No one's anything close to Prabhupada. Not in our generations and so on. So I hope that helped. I hope that gives some light on your idea.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. I am looking at the time, it's quite late your time. I also heard you say your battery is running up.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah. So we'll
it's
continue.
Okay. I plugged in my phone, so it's okay.
Okay, so Kripanidhi Prabhu, thank you so much. One quick thing I would like to say, then we'll go to His Grace Govinda Prabhu, is that I'm trying to learn from experiences we all go through in life. And that is when someone belongs to a political party and he actually loves that political party. If something is not going on right in that party, he does not leave the party. He stays in the party and tries to make sure that whatever is going wrong gets corrected.
Yes.
If someone belongs to, especially like those of us from Africa, oftentimes we have big family. We have brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, nieces here and there. We all belong to one family. If there is some problem in that family, one cannot say because there is a problem in the family, I don't belong to this family anymore. So the idea maybe due to some challenges we are having in ISKCON, one decides that it's no more belonging to ISKCON. It's quite an unfortunate situation. And my grade, I always say this, if someone particularly is a disciple of His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, there is no available reason for such a devotee to leave ISKCON. Because he taught us that, he said, first of all, he believes that he is number one, opportunistic. And he threw out a challenge. If anyone can show him a better spiritual organization than ISKCON, if anyone can show him a spiritual organization with better, higher philosophy than ISKCON's, he will be the first one to grab it. And he's tried everywhere. He's never found it because it's not available. Therefore, that's to buttress what you said. With all the challenges we have, we cannot deny some of the challenges we have. We are still better off than anything anybody can ever imagine. Therefore, I am urging myself and everybody, I'm nobody, but I'm urging myself, urging every devotee in ISKCON that let us stick together. Whatever the problem might be in ISKCON, let us come together and resolve the problem and give joy and happiness to Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupāda. So, Govinda Prabhu, please, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Sadhu Prabhu. Yeah, Prabhu, thank you again. This is pure nectar, you know. We would like you to stay here forever. If the time will permit us to do this, to keep you with us forever. But we cannot do that. But a little time that we have with you, we would like to take from you as much as possible.
I appreciate. Yeah.
Prabhu, see, I'm reading this book by Narottam Das Thakur. And Narottam Das Thakur is explaining the beauty and the opulence in a spiritual world. And he talk of the trees, the cows, and how Srimati Radharani orders the tree and the grass to dance, and they would dance so beautifully, so amazingly, and all that. And then he went on to say that there are millions of desire-fulfilling trees, and those who take shelter. And this desire-fulfilling trees, the trees will bless them. Otherwise, will imbue the divine love to such personalities that they will completely be free from their material desires and have the pure heart to serve the Lord. So here's my question, that to go back to be able to enter into spiritual world, one has to be completely pure. One heart has to be free from all material desires and contaminations. So how come that those in the spiritual world, again taking shelter under the desire-fulfilling trees, and the trees bestows them the mercy, the divine love, the divine energy, that their heart will become completely free from material desires. So those in the spiritual world, do they still have material desires?
No, you can't go to the spiritual world unless you're free from all material desires. Prabhupada wrote a letter to Jayananda, who died from leukemia. And that letter is very famous. He said, if you have a tinge of material desire, you'll go to the heavenly planets. From there, you'll continue on to the spiritual world by purification. But then he said, but I think that you are fully Krishna conscious and that you went back to Godhead. So he was the first disciple to leave his body. It was 1976, before Prabhupada left. So in that particular letter, we can see that if you have a tinge of material desire, you'll be sent to the heavenly planets, and from there you can purify and go on. But many times Prabhupada mentioned that if you have a tiny little desire, you have to be you have to come to a platform at least of pure Krishna consciousness without any desire, any tinge of desire, any material desire, subtle or gross. Bhaktiastu ananyaya shakya mahamivam vivarduna. 11th chapter of Bhagavad-Gītā, Krishna tells Arjuna that only by ananyaya, ananya means without the slightest desire for fame, name, power, followers, nothing, complete unconditional love for God. In other words, when one comes to the platform of prema bhakti, or at least raga nuga bhakti, when one is tasting the nectar of the holy name, vishuddha sattva, pure chanting of the holy name, I don't know who wrote or translated that book you're reading, but certainly, you know, like you have to be endowed with love of God to be in the spiritual world. At least Shantaras, which is, Prabhupada said, Shantaras is like Krishna sitting on a beautiful diamond-studded seat in the forest of Vrindavan with Radharani, and that seat is Shantaras. It's or Dasiras. Dasiras. It's serving the Lord, but it's not reciprocating with the Lord, as say the servants of Krishna. That's a higher level of Dasiras. So Prabhupada is explaining that even the stones in Vrindavan are serving Krishna, but it's not as high as Krishna's servants or Krishna's friends or Krishna's parents and so on. So pure love of God is very rare. Pure devotional service is very rare. And you won't be allowed in the spiritual world if you have any tinge of material desire. I don't, it doesn't kind of line up with the Siddhanta, Bhakti Siddhanta, the conclusion of the...
Yeah, this is from Prema Bhakti Chandrika. Prema Bhakti Chandrika. So the spiritual abode is eternally adorned by millions of desire-fulfilling trees, by mansions made of wish-fulfilling jewels, and by innumerable desire-fulfilling cows. There, thousands and thousands of Raj gopis are rendering service to the original personality of Godhead with great affection. I serve that Sri Govinda. By taking shelter of these wish-fulfilling trees, you become completely imbued with the mood of divine service to Sri Radha Krishna, and all your material desires will be removed.
Well, yeah, it says all material desires will be removed. If you have a material desire, how are you going, you know?
Yeah. So
how
that,
you know, the only way we can think of Krishna 24 hours a day is if we develop some kind of anurag bhakti. Right now we're in Vedi bhakti. Most, I would say 99.9% devotees are in Vedi bhakti, which is the beginning, the first of the two stages of sadhana bhakti. The second stage is raganuga bhakti, which perhaps one or two devotees that may be at that stage. But one is entering into full consciousness of Krishna and Vrindavan. He is completely devoid of any kind of material desire. Completely devoid. Is what I have gathered from Prabhupada's instructions and teachings. So that's my perspective on it. I don't know who translated the book. Maybe it's in a certain context that I don't understand. That one becomes free from all material desires by the grace of the Kalpavriksha trees. How did they get to Vaikuntha?
Yeah. So that's my worry.
You know, in Los Angeles, they had the Gopi Club in 1976. These devotees started meeting and reading and trying to, get into this whole Gopi mood, and Prabhupada cut it off. He said, first deserve, then desire. That was his quote. First you become qualified before you start, or else you might think it's just a mundane boy-girl relationship. That's very dangerous. Yeah. We have to, recognize our position in Krishna consciousness and not artificially try to force ourselves into some artificial, I'm a gopi, or I'm a cowherd boy. Or, no. One devotee asked Prabhupada, can we try to find out our Swarup, or Siddha Swarup? I said, you can hardly chant your rounds. Well, what do you do? Why, you can't even chant properly the 16 rounds, attentive rounds. You don't even have the ability to chant 16 proper rounds. Why are you asking these artificial questions? Don't artificially impose. That Krishna will reveal when it's your time. Krishna will reveal pure devotional service. No one can be appointed a pure devotee. It's when Krishna bestows pure devotional service on someone, it's like it said, the self-effulgent pure devotee is self-effulgent. Like Śrīla Prabhupāda, when we saw Prabhupada, we knew right away. Everyone knew, even non-devotees. This is a very, very unique, great personality. He had an effulgence about him. He had a powerful presence. So until you get there, first deserve, then desire. Yeah. So I'm not
Thank
sure.
you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Hare Krishna, I think that
yes, I think it's time, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mangalarti.
Yeah, you have to. We can't thank you enough, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our beloved uncle, His Grace, Kripanidhi Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all, Prabhuji. We can't thank you enough. Please give me all on mute. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhishcha,
Vanchakalpatarubhishcha, Kripasinubhya evacha, Patitana Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo
Anantakoti
Namaha.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna.
Jai.
All glories to the Vaishnavas.
Ki jai.
Jai.
All Pratsama
Haribo.
Vaishnava devotees